Hello, everybody, and here we are again with the latest installment of Demystifying the Thesis Statement. This time, we're going to focus on writing a thesis statement for the microaggression debate essay. As we've seen before, our thesis is still like that good bus driver. This time around, it knows where to go, it steers your essay, and it avoids bad traffic. As always, we want our thesis statement to take a stand. We really want to answer the question, and we want to be assertive using focused and direct language. We are addressing the president of the college in this particular essay. So we want to project confidence in our stance. We want to display the thoughtfulness of our position. That's how we'll get somebody in authority to hear us, to listen to us. And as always, that language should use active verbs and words like should, needs to, imperative, must, has to, right? Words that really get across a strong point. And as always, get rid of those words on the right. We don't need them. They don't do anything for your essay at all. Okay, now we have the prompt. So let's just take a minute and answer the question in the prompt. What should Contra Costa College do? Should we enact a policy that punishes people who commit microaggressions, or should we not? Take a minute, hit pause real quick, and just answer in complete honesty. Okay, welcome back. Now that we know where we're going, now that we have a pretty firm stance on what should happen, let's check Waze, right? Let's check this app that shows us where are the roadblocks, where might some problems be, what do we have to do to prepare before we leave? Okay? In this way, bad traffic is basically the same as an opposing argument. You're going to have to deal with somebody who might disagree with you in a respectful, assertive, logical fashion, right? So let's look at the brainstorm that we completed in one of the last pages, right? That brainstorm that had arguments for having a microaggression policy and arguments for not having a microaggression policy, right? So find an idea on the opposite side of the sentence you just wrote. So if you're for a policy, find a sentence that's against a policy or an argument that's against the policy, and then write that out in your own language. Use your own language, write it in a complete sentence in your very own language, okay? Hit pause and I'll be right back. Welcome back. So now you have two sentences, right? So how do you join these two sentences? Well, the answer is pretty easy. It's called a concessive subordinator. And you probably already know them. There's 5 of them, though, although, even though, while, and whereas. And they're sneaky good at helping you to address opposing arguments and stay assertive, right? So you won't sound wishy-washy when you use them. They work to literally take the emphasis away from your opposing arguments, almost like little magic words. So let's look at how they work. Okay, so one question that comes up all the time when I talk about concessive subordinators is why can't I just leave it as 2 sentences? Well, there is a grammatical reason, and we'll talk about that. If we look at the sentence on the left, parking fines help raise money, it stands all by itself. It's an independent clause. If we look at the one on the right, Richmond must not increase parking fines, it also stands on its own as an independent clause. Therefore, they have what we call equal emphasis. Both of those sentences are equally powerful. So no one idea is shown to be better or worse than the other, right? They're equal. And since we're working to persuade somebody, that might not work so well. Equal is not what we're looking for. And then students ask, can we just use fanboys? Okay, let's take a look at the fanboys. And just a reminder, that's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, right? We're going to use the word but here. And so if we look here, we see that parking fines help raise money. Still an independent clause because it still stands on its own. Now, if we look on the other side, it's also still an independent clause. These are still equal, right? So the fanboys only join parts of sentences or complete sentences that are equal in emphasis. So here, no one idea is better than the other. It can show contrast, right? But does show contrast, but it shows contrast between two equal elements, right? And so we're not looking for equal. We want something that showcases our idea while kind of putting down the other person's other side, right? Let's take a look at using how this works out when we use a concessive subordinator. So here I use while. So while parking fines help raise money, Richmond must not increase parking fines. When we look at that, we see that Richmond must not increase parking fines. That is still an independent clause. So, okay. Let's see what happens when we check next. Oh, something changed. While parking fines help raise money, right? If I just stopped talking there, you'd be like, whoa, man, keep talking. Finish your thought, right? Spit it out, man. And so that's how we know that the clause on the left is dependent. It needs something to help it finish its thought. And so just like in a household, independent, your parents, right, they have the power. They decide what goes on in the household, right? What to spend money on, when you can go out, what chores you're going to do, right? Those things are all the power of the independent. So they are not equal. So the idea that is better, or the idea that this sentence showcases, is that Richmond must not increase parking fines. So now we know which side this writer is on. We know the stance. Concessive subordinators literally change the weight of the idea to help us figure that out, right? And so by using the word while, we see that the side with the most weight is that Richmond must not increase parking fines. Okay? So let's take the two sentences that you have on your paper and let's combine those using a concessive subordinator to de-emphasize your opposing argument, which will make your stance more important. Okay? So here, use the concessive subordinator as the first word in the sentence that you wrote as a counter argument. Okay? And then combine that by putting that clause first. And I like it to go first because the idea that you're arguing against and the dependent clause, that happens first, and then you give your stance. And your stance is the last idea your audience is aware of before they read your essay. So they're not thinking about the counter argument necessarily, they're thinking about your argument. Okay? So hit pause and take a minute to put those sentences together and try it 2 or 3 different ways. As we've discovered throughout the semester, trying those 2 or 3 different ways really helps you fine-tune and zone in on just that right language. So hit pause and get it started. Okay, welcome back. So we have just one more little bit to go with the thesis statement, right? And that's like, so what? Why should we enact your idea? Why should the president listen to your proposal? For what purpose? So what? Okay? And so this is really important because it really gives that emphasis and drive to your stance. So to get that, you've got a nice complex sentence going on right now. And so add one of these words to the very end of that sentence. Just choose one. Any of them, doesn't really matter. But you'll add one to that sentence, and then you'll add and answer the so what question, right? Why should the president pay any attention to you? So here's an example. While parking fines help raise money, Richmond must not increase parking fines because the fines place undue burden on the city's working class families, right? So this is what we're looking for here, is exactly kind of what's going on and why we need this this proposal to pass. So you'll talk to the president about what needs to be done and why. That's what your thesis statement will incorporate. Okay? So work on that, brainstorm a couple different versions of your thesis statement, and then in the discussion forum below, post both of those sentences and then follow the instructions on how to respond to your classmates. Okay? Thanks a bunch. Talk soon. Bye.